Hi, obstacles to growth. Today we're going to talk about obstacles to growth. And what I mean by that is to personal growth, to developing a personality, to becoming the best person you can, what holds us back. So there's three aspects. Number one is what are the obstacles? Number two is why are these obstacles obstacles? And number three is what are we going to do about them? So let's jump in. The main obstacles to growth are the inner critic and a lack of self-love. Okay, they are the two biggest obstacles to growth. So why are the obstacles to growth? Basically, we have to understand the way the mind is organized. We have a conscious mind and we have a subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is developed in the first 8 years of life. So in the first 8 years of life, we're like a blank sheet of paper. We simply absorb all the inputs around us, good or bad. So we're developed in an arbitrary way. And our subconscious mind develops certain structures in order to organize ourselves. And there's a difference between the conscious and subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is things like our memories, our feelings, and so on and so forth. The ego, the will, is all in the conscious mind. The ego, the will, has volition, but it has no real power. The subconscious mind has a lot of power, but no real will. Okay? The rational mind is developed by 7 or 8 years of age. And this mind is organized and it categorizes things. There's the whole idea of judgmentalism. It judges things, it puts things into different categories of wrong and right and so on and so forth. The subconscious mind does not have this ability. The subconscious mind is basically a servant. The subconscious mind does not judge. And the subconscious mind is not rational. The subconscious mind sees in images and feels. And it simply gives you whatever you seem to program it. So actually the way it's supposed to be is our conscious mind chooses what we want, and then we program our subconscious mind to do it. So we get lots of examples of, say, great scientists where they are working hard and then they sleep and they dream. For example, I think it was Mendeleev, as the guy came with the periodic table. He was dreaming of a chest of drawers. We've got some of the atomic theory as well. Bohr, he had this image of little stars going around, and that gave him the idea of stars, of electrons jumping to a higher energy level. So these are examples of the scientists working so hard that while they sleep, they've effectively programmed their subconscious mind, and their subconscious mind is doing the work for them. Okay, that's the way it's supposed to be. But the glitch, the problem that we have as a result of human evolution, because this is there's a word, a phrase that was used before called the blind watchmaker, that evolution is the blind watchmaker. It just has a go at things. It's not very rational. And the problem we have is that our early life conditioning it's arbitrary. It's the things that people say to us, our teachers, our neighbors, our parents, grandparents, people in the street, what's on the TV. It's all programming us to be a certain way, all right? So, for example, when I was a young boy, we used to have TV shows on like the Black and White Minstrels where people would wear blackface and everybody thought it was hilarious. Now you can't have a show like that today. People say it's terrible. But we didn't know any better. That's just the way it was. That was a cultural value. So these things are just sucked in like ink into blotting paper. Okay? So the problem is our subconscious mind is filled with a lot of trashy thoughts and ideas. And it's almost that a lot of these negative thoughts and judgments are almost like they keep replicating through the generations. Like your grandparents, their parents said something very negative to them. They didn't have that negative belief system and negative thinking. They said it to your parents, and they say it to you, and they say it to your kids. So if you look at the world that we're in and the state of the world that we're in, it's in a bit of a mess, largely because of this endless criticism. So I said problems with the inner critic. The inner critic is basically, you have a critical faculty that's developed as a child. There's a good side of this critical faculty, or we could call subpersonality. And the good side is conscience, but the bad side is inner criticism. Okay? So the thing with the inner critic is, one person has a certain type of inner critic, another person has another type of inner critic. Some people's inner critic is pretty easygoing. Other people's inner critic is very aggressive. And it's simply because of the way it was developed arbitrarily in the early years of life. Now, it also becomes judgmentalism. So the inner critic, your inner critic, is basically saying that you're bad and you're stupid and you're not good. But it can also be projected outwards to that person is bad, that group of people are shitty, these people are not nice. I'm not happy about this, not happy about that, not happy about this, not happy about that. Okay, so it's the same thing. The thing that judges yourself is also the thing that judges other people. So judgmentalism. So this is why the big obstacle to growth is judging ourselves and others. The other thing is lack of love, and you can kind of see that it's obvious that if you're busy judging yourself and others, you're going to have a lack of love, okay? So there are the obstacles, inner critic and judgmentalism. The reason why they cause a problem is because your subconscious mind is designed to be programmed by you to help you, but somewhere along the way, the inner critic, which is actually the flip side, your conscience, and is designed to help you, is now demanding and pushing. And along with your rational mind, which developed in your 7 or 8 years of age, is trying to organize the world, to judge the world. We're judging ourselves all the time, and we're judging other people in society, you know? You ask a group of people to talk, they'll all moan and groan at each other, okay? Judging, 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 judging. Now, how do we cure this? Well, first of all, to cure the inner critic, we have to begin by realizing that we have a faculty or subpersonality called the inner critic. And what we have to do is start observing the things we say to ourselves in our inner dialogue. Take out a notebook, diary, whatever, and just see any negative thoughts that you have. Actually write down the words you say to yourself, like, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, I can never study maths, I'm stupid at maths, I could never be a success, people like me can't be a success. You write it down and you figure out what the problem is, because there's two major types of self-criticism. One type is a fact with a judgment, like, I'm not good at talking to people, I'm a failure. Well, I'm not good at talking to people is an objective reality. The failure is a judgment. So what you do is, let's say, for example, I'm not good at talking to strangers, to new people. I'm not good at making friends, okay? I'm a failure. So you write down, I'm not good at making friends. Then you write, I'm a failure. And then you write in another sentence, I'm not good at making friends. And you write down the failure bit and you scrub out the failure. Then in another sentence you write down, I'm not good at making friends, but I'm learning to make friends. So you're taking the actual thing that you feel. You're not trying to fight it. You're isolating the judgment and you're writing down, I'm not good at making friends, but I'm learning how to make friends. You get rid of the judgment. And you keep doing this every day. You keep weeding out these negative thoughts and replacing them with a more positive version. Just like if you had a garden, you would weed your garden. It's the exact same thing. So that's one thing you can do. The second type of judgment is not based on factuality. I'm ugly, nobody loves me. You don't know you're ugly. What the hell is ugly? Is there some subjective, objective judgment of what's ugly or not ugly? So in that case, something like, I'm ugly, okay? Nobody loves me, right? You're going to write down, I'm ugly, nobody loves me. Next sentence, I feel that I'm ugly and nobody loves me. I accept that that's how I feel right now, but I'm working on learning to love myself. I realize this is a subjective observation, not objective observation, and I'm working to learn to love myself more or accept myself more, whatever. Okay, so you got the two types. One is an actual fact with a judgment, remove the judgment, and the other type is non-judgment, but just completely biased thinking, either towards myself or another, and I just accept how I feel. Now notice we don't fight it, we accept, but then we stand back and say, it's not real. I don't really buy into it. I realize that this is simply a thought in my head. It's not real, okay? So that's the basis upon which you work on getting rid of inner critic. Now, how do you learn to love yourself more? The major thing is mind feed. Mind feed is basically whereby you feed yourself positive. So what we've got as a problem with the negative thinking is that our program is all crazy. The first thing we have to do is to weed out the negatives, but then we have to put something in place. So we have to start reading good books, training seminars, self-help groups, talking to others, writing in our diary, watching good TV shows, watching good videos. Say for example Netflix. Most of it's trash. Either don't watch it or watch the good stuff, okay? Anything that's got people shouting or screaming, turn it off. Basically. It can be shouting and screaming if there's some depth to it, but most of it's just trash, okay? Fill yourself with good stuff and start working on yourself. Other things you can do is meditation, yoga classes, exercise, okay? You got to nurture yourself. So 2 sides of the coin here. 1 is getting rid of the negative thinking. 2 is boosting yourself with this mind feed. Other things you can do to help are autosuggestion. Autosuggestion was popularized by Emil Kuh, maybe 1920 I think it was. And things like every day and every way and getting better and better. And you use like a positive phrase based in the present tense. Every day I'm finding it easier to make friends. Every day I'm finding myself more and more attractive and I'm happier and happier with myself. So you just keep repeating this 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 times a day. But we can also go beyond that. It's a good way to begin, but we can also go beyond it. And we go beyond it by getting into what I like to call positive self-speak. Now, if you're weeding your garden of thoughts and you're using mind feed and autosuggestion, eventually a stage comes where you don't need to do so much autosuggestion and you don't need to do so much mind feed, and that you're starting to develop a positive self-talk. So you're starting out with negative self-talk and you're slowly working at getting positive self-talk. Now, the mistake that people can make is by trying too hard. This is where like books years ago, like, The Power of Positive Thinking, for example, it's kind of based on, I will make myself be positive. I'll make myself be successful. And we even get the, more popular these days is the law of attraction. But the mistake a lot of law of attraction people fall into is, if I'm no success, I'm a failure because I didn't manifest enough. I'm not good enough to manifest. Again, this is judging. No, see life like, this whole Zen Buddhism thing. Everything is a practice. I'm practicing at becoming better every day. I'm practicing at becoming happier every day. I'm practicing and manifesting better every day, okay? So you keep working at weeding out the negatives. You keep working at building yourself up. And the other thing is you do things like visualizing the life that you want. Do some diary writing. Find out what really makes you tick and what really matters to you, and start striving towards the life that you really like to have. So you don't have to become something you're not or strive after something that's not really you. You just become more and more yourself. But don't judge at any stage and say, oh, I couldn't manifest any of this. All the judgment stuff is bullshit and crap. Get rid of it. All right? So to summarize, the obstacles to self-growth are inner criticism and lack of love. The cure is to work on the inner critic and then boost yourself. You boost yourself through mind feed, autosuggestion, and creative visualization. And when you visualize, you use your emotions as well, okay? And learning about yourself, finding out values you have, finding out what your, let's say, intrinsic self is about, your intrinsic desires, the things that you really want, not that you thought you want, but the things that you actually do want in life. And, going towards congruency where you're becoming more and more and more and more yourself. And the more you come be more and more and more yourself, the more things will line up in your life which are congruent with your congruency. Okay? That is the key to overcoming the obstacles to growth. Hope you like it. Please like and subscribe, and talk to you next time.